Okay, I'm removing Schnabel.
Sorry,
Oops. So,
Manuj, there's something that I've also have to mention that after your session there would be a quiz. So once you, I mean, when you start your session, no need to say good morning or good afternoon because the recording of the event could be playing either in the morning or afternoon depending on the agenda. So you can just start with hi everyone, and begin with your presentation. When you finish, you can say thank you so much for listening. Please stay tuned because there will be a quiz based on my session, and you'll have to send me 5 quiz questions with four multiple. I mean, it will have 4 options where one of them would be the correct answer. I'll send you an email for that, but just giving you a heads up that you'll have to also give me 5 questions, MCQ, multiple choice questions with 4 options, one correct answer.
Sure.
So when you finish your presentation, you can just tell them now you will have a short quiz. So enjoy something like that in your own words, however
Sure.
you're comfortable.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Manoj.
Thank you.
okay, perfect. So I'm removing Schnabel and myself in 3, 2.
Hello, everyone. My name is Manuj Marwaha. I'm a senior sales engineer with NetScout in the Middle East region, and I'm based out of Dubai. And I hope everyone is doing well. And today we will talk about what's really going on with the 5G and IoT trends, and how NetScout can really help you in rolling out or doing operations about 5G and IoT networks. So, as you know, that we are in the middle of this fourth industrial revolution, where machine-to-machine communication is playing a very critical role, and this is becoming, I will say or suggest that uh, amazing times where new use cases are getting deployed, and I will say it's really exciting times for all of us to really understand and visualize how the future will really look like. And basis that 5G and IoT are playing a very critical role here. And there is this IoT and 5G promise that people will always be connected and technology will be more than ever embedded in our social fabric. And also, there will be high speed and instant connectivity from any device and for any person without any restrictions. As you know, there has been a constant pursuit where we have been trying to reduce the latencies and increasing the bandwidth. So I will say that this 5G and IoT promise is here to come live. And what 3G PP has really done and has suggested us is that there are various options, keeping in mind a lot of deployment has already, or investments have already been done by various service providers across the globe. And as a result of that, there is this non-standalone option and also standalone option where 5G core is getting deployed with new radio, which can be in tandem with 4G core and 4G RAN. And various options are being suggested by 3GPP, and we see that in the from the trends, various uh, service providers are actually opting for example, option 3 if they are using non-standalone core. In this, they are actually deploying the new radio first, which works with the EPC core, and the control plane stays with the LTE RAN, and the user plane is being taken by the new radio. So this is one strategy, and we are also seeing that this option two, where the service providers are actually monitoring or actually deploying the network. Um, yeah. So we also see that various service providers are going with option two, where they have a standalone a new radio and a standalone 5G core. So both these strategies really depend on customer to customer and also how much money they are planning to put in the rollout. Um, Both have their advantages and disadvantages, and what NetScout really offers is giving visibility, and we are able to do it in non-standalone or standalone options as well. So there's no problem in that. Also, what we have seen is that various markets or pockets in the world are rolling out standalone. Earlier, we saw more and more operators were actually favoring non-standalone because of the obvious reasons of cost savings and all. But the standalone option is actually also coming of age, where we see a lot more commercial deployments happening, and NetScout is very much in there helping with the visibility aspect and the monitoring aspect for these rollouts. So the ecosystem is really changing, and if you see that uh, the conventional service providers are becoming digital service providers. So what is really changing is that they no longer only provide the infrastructure or services for the network connectivity, but they are also becoming OTT application providers as well. So a lot of the ecosystem paradigm shift is really happening. And also, if you see, because of that, customer experience is also getting redefined. And we also see a lot more trends where 5G and IoT is being deployed by the enterprises as well. Because the way 5G is really structured, where we have this CUPS architecture where control and user plane are actually getting segregated. So mobile edge computing is also playing a very critical role in that. So when all these ecosystem changes are really happening, so NetScout is actually scaling up the solution as well, where we can uh, monitor these cups architecture and mobile edge computing, and give all the visibility that is needed by these service providers to run their operations effectively. So what NetScout is actually doing is that we have this philosophy where we are providing visibility without borders, in which it can be any RAN, so not only 5G or IoT, but it can be 2G, 3G, or legacy stuff as well, or it can be any other enterprise data center or Wi-Fi or even cable operators. So depending upon how their architecture is, that we can actually provide and customize the solution for them. So it can be any cloud as well. As you know, with the 5G, more and more network elements are actually getting virtualized. And we have these public clouds as well as private clouds where various network functions are actually getting hosted. And it can be of any vendor as well, be it Azure or AWS or um, IBM. And it can be even Docker container environment. So any environment, we are able to give and provide full visibility of what's really going on. And also, if you see, it can be any service, because as like I was saying that various OTT applications are also being hosted by service providers. So it can be voice, video, OTT applications, voice over new radio, voice over LTE, any application. NetScout can provide visibility on that as well. And the way we do it, we can host our sensors as well as applications in various form factors as well, which can be our own appliances, or it can be from commercial off the shelf hardware, or it can be on virtual infrastructure, or it can also be software as a service deployment as well. So again, depending upon how the customers really want and how their network is actually designed and their use cases, we can actually scale up to that. And also delivering the use case, that's the most critical part of it. So we conventionally were focusing on troubleshooting service assurance use cases, but we are making a lot more innovation on the big data, machine learning, AI, automation, and security use cases as well, because NetScout is very uniquely positioned in which we are sitting on the wire looking at various packets, and we are able to uh, look at all these packets and create metadata which can be consumed by our own application as well as third party applications as well. So NetScout is actually developing the whole ecosystem in which we are able to give complete visibility through our applications or through third party applications. Now, coming back to the 5G standalone, which seems to be heading towards more deployments across the globe and is of very keen interest to various users and various customers, in which if you see that we have tried to break it into three different layers. One is the radio side of the things, where a lot of innovation and changes are happening as well, where with open RAN and virtual RAN as well. We have also this red layer, which is again the user plane function. A lot of innovation has actually gone in that side as well, in which the cups architecture is actually implemented, where in the conventional architectures like user plane and control plane for user plane was actually very tightly integrated. Now what 3GPP has really done is that they have tried to decouple that, and what NetScout really does is that we do these correlation and provide this enrichment through our monitoring of control as well as user plane. Also, if you notice that this green layer where various new functions have actually come, it's a complete redesign of the architecture what 3GPP has done with 5G. And most of the functions here are again on cloud, can be public or private. Mostly what I see is that operators are going to favor private clouds, and we actually can sit in the cloud of any vendor and can actually give you that visibility again. So this is again a very interesting time. And if you see, there are various network functions which are actually virtualized now. So the primarily these functions which are like network resource function, or um, SCP, or communication proxy function, or maybe decups through enabling MEC and URLLC kind of use cases, where our yeah. So there are these various network functions which are actually in a private cloud. For example, will be deployed by a service provider, um, and it will. Nets what NetScout really does is that we actually monitor all these functions. We can sit in the cloud infrastructure, or can be in various other form factors as well, depending upon how the network is actually deployed. So we can provide complete visibility of 5G and IoT, what's really going on between various functions in the network. Another very critical node is NRF node, which is network resource function or network register function. And in this, it plays very critical role in 5G networks, where all the nodes which are auto scaling, they need to actually register to this function so that the other nodes can actually know and can communicate with other nodes that are really coming up. So making sure that NRF function is working properly, it becomes very critical to really monitor 5G uh, nodes, for example, like NRF. Network repository function, yeah, it plays a very critical role in 5G core as well, where all the various other nodes register them with this network repository function. And it is very critical to monitor this function, because if it is not functioning right, it can really lead to outage or other scenarios. So what we have noticed through our experience of monitoring various 5G standalone networks, that NRF monitoring plays a very critical role in ensuring the services. Also, we have this node called Service Communication Proxy, which is, I will say that it's the modern version of what DRA node was. So what it actually does is that it doesn't allow a lot of mesh to really happen in the network. So various functions communicate with this node, and they reduce the traffic. So this actually, again, SCP function plays a very critical role. And NetScout, by monitoring this node, gives complete visibility to the operator that how their control plane traffic is actually behaving in the network. Again, with the CUPS architecture, deployed in 5G, um, edge monitoring plays a very critical role. And with NetScout's expertise of doing correlation between the control and user plane, we can really enrich the data with the various fields so that we can provide complete visibility, like which subscriber is using what kind of application through which APN, and uh, how is the performance of that particular application happening for that subscriber, and what cells are being involved during consumption of that particular application. So all this visibility will be provided by monitoring user plane function. Also, what we have noticed is that, as I mentioned before, various operators have had this strategy of non-standalone, and as a result of that, some of the operators are still going to use their IMS infrastructure with, for example, 4G core. So what really happens is that uh, they still need to implement voice over new radio. And in this case, they can choose to have an EPS fallback, in which the whenever a subscriber or user is trying to make a call through 5G, and if IMS is still not integrated with 5G core, they can actually do a EPS fallback. And we, NetScout, having an expertise in 4G voice over LTE monitoring as well as 5G, now we have actually seen and how we can provide visibility through EPS fallback, and making sure that customers are able to make voice calls even if it's still with the legacy 4G. So we have all the expertise, and we know which interfaces we need to monitor, and provide you with all the complete visibility. Also, there are various other use cases that come when 5G is getting rolled out along with IoT. Um, how many subscribers are actually registering to 5G, for example, can be standalone or non-standalone? How is actually the volume usage as compared to the legacy network and 5G? And how much throughput is yeah. So 5G again, there are various use cases that are also enabled by NetScout. So, for example, how many subscribers are registering to 5G standalone? As a matter of fact, it can be non-standalone as well. And how is the usage between the conventional legacy networks like 4G versus the newer rolled out network like 5G? How is the throughput of in the 5G networks? A lot has been promised, but what NetScout does is that really show you the tangible data that what was the network designed for, and what is the throughput that the users are actually getting. And we can do it on various granular levels, like it can be on regional level with various cells, and it can also be on the application level as well. Also, with NetScout's solution, what really happens is that customer can focus on certain regions, like, and can see and have visibility that a particular region is actually able to deliver and on the promise. How are the various KPIs for a particular region behaving? And also, we give you a unique capability in which you can put, say, focus on VIP subscribers or high ARPU subscribers, and see that how is their perceived experience like in that environment or in that particular region. So all these kind of prioritization really is available. Also, there are various other dimensions available in 5G analytics, like you can put analysis on what kind of handsets or what kind of devices, can be various IoT devices, categories, types as well. And we can also give you additional dimensions like frequency bands. You can put all these kind of filters while analyzing the data. Also, another critical role is what how is the RAN behaving. You will be rolling out and 5G, there are various um, bandwidths or various geoanalytics is also a very critical piece in the rollout of 5G. How you are actually planned the network, and various frequencies are being used in 5G network. So it becomes really critical and really important to really understand if there are any coverage gaps, if there are certain subscribers or users who were supposed to be using indoor cells or frequencies are still being served by outdoor regions. So these kind of visibility and these kind of information is needed. And also you can, through this geoanalytics capabilities, you will need to really understand the pockets where there are high concentration of subscribers, right? And also you need to really understand that if this network is actually able to provide all the right infrastructure to this to the user. So this really becomes really critical and important that we understand how the radio is actually deployed and is able to um, give the right resources to the users. So now, how the networks actually have changed and evolved. Conventionally speaking, when we had legacy networks, it was primarily all physical, and the applications were really simplistic in that times. So things changed when 4G or LTE came. The consumers were more into OTT applications like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. All these kind of things changed how the networks were actually scaling up. But with the modern times and with 5G and all, and the architectural changes that are coming up, including MECs and DCUPS architecture, a lot more focus is actually happening on the virtual or the cloud side of the things. And to be honest, it's not very easy and to provide the visibility and all. But with the expertise of NetScout, we are able to not only cater to the physical hybrid or the cloud aspect of the things, uh, we are able to deliver all these use cases in which the users can actually not only do troubleshooting, service assurance, but also we can have these closed loop analytics in which we can feed all this data to applications who can take auto correction. For example, we might feed this data into uh, policy control function in which policies needs to take certain decisions based on this critical data. Um, Instrumentation layer plays a very critical role as well. So if you see NetScout's sensors, they come actually. So let's talk about NetScout's product portfolio. So as I've been talking about 5G and other networks and even the IoT networks, so what really happens is that NetScout has got two layers in which the bottom layer is actually called the instrumentation layer, where you see InfiniStream NG and InfiniStream NG RAN and Packet Flow Broker and RAN Flow Broker. So these are actually the sensors or the collection layers where we actually sniff all the packets and analyze all the packets really going on. And through this packets, we have this ASI patented technology where we converts all this packet data into metadata. So what we do really is that all this metadata is actually then consumed by various applications, and we can send this data to third-party application as well in a standard Kafka format as well. So what really happens is that all these applications are purpose built for these workflows, where I will talk about these various applications where we consume this data and give you a very directed workflow approach in which you can find a needle in the haystack. As you know, there is so much of data really flowing, and too much of information is also no information. So NetScout's workflow approach really helps you in a very targeted way where you can actually uh, follow the workflow and try to reduce the mean time to know. So this really helps you quickly resolving the issues or also doing various other use cases as well. I will talk about that in my slides. So, like I was talking about the instrumentation layer, InfiniStream NG, it comes in different flavors, and we can give or provide you with a hardware appliance, or it can also be in a commercial off the shelf hardware where we can just give you the software. Also, it has a flavor of virtual to it, in which it can be hosted in your public or private cloud infrastructure. So what really does is that it gives you this complete high definition insights. What application is being used can be voice, video, and who is the subscriber and what technology is being used, can be 5G IoT or can be any other legacy, and how the network infrastructure is involved. Is it physical, hybrid, or virtual? So all these combination, when we give you all the insights to various dimensions, really creates this high definition data that really enables all the use cases of visibility. So, for example, let's focus a little bit more on the virtual aspect of InfiniStream. So, as you know, that various ecosystem or various environments really exist in the virtual scenario. And what we do is that various flavors of virtual InfiniStream is there, in which we can deploy in a Docker container environment, or it can be on a VMware environment or KVM, OpenStack. So you name it, we already are actually doing all these innovation to make sure that you have the complete visibility in the various virtual infrastructure. So let's talk a little bit about public cloud as well, in which what we have seen is that, generally speaking, the cloud infrastructure is able to give us visibility to the packets through VTAP. And what we do is that we simply install with the right VM, right. Let's talk about vStreams or virtual infinite streams in the public cloud a little bit more, in which what we have seen is that the cloud infrastructure, if they are able to give access to the packets, we can simply install our vStream in the public cloud, and we can start looking at those packets and start creating metadata on that. In case if the cloud infrastructure is not able to give us visibility to the packets through VTAP or a vSwitch functionality, then vStream can also be run as an agent. In this case, it will be co-hosted or co-located with that particular virtual machine, and we can start listening to those packets and can again create that metadata and provide you with the visibility. So again, depending upon how your cloud infrastructure is really there, and if they are not able to help you, then we are here to help you to make sure that you get all the visibility. So from an application perspective, and there's this Ingenious One application where it is our flagship product, which has a top-down workflow approach in which we can show you all the snapshot of the network in one dashboard. And based on that, you can actually drill down to various KPIs, and then you can further drill down to sessions. And if you still want more visibility and analysis, you can drill down to packets as well. So this particular workflow really enables the users to actually drill down from a very broad or I will say a service problem to actually the specifics of the things and really find what is actually causing the degradation of that particular service. And also, needless to say, this is again part of the ecosystem where we also enable API access as well, where we can give you complete integration of this particular application. Also, Ingenious Business Analytics is another offering from NetScout where we enable all your big data use cases, and all the granularity of use cases go till the subscriber level. Here in this case, you can actually find which subscriber is in what region is using what kind of application, and how that particular application is performing for that particular user. So all these various use cases are very easy to deploy with Ingenious Business Analytics, and user can actually create their dashboards on the fly. And eh, all this data, what I'm talking about, is in near real time. So this is really powerful. Also, like we talked about how geo analytics play a very critical role in really ensuring that how the radio infrastructure rollout is happening when you are deploying, for example, 5G in this case. So TrueCall is our solution offering where we do all the calls that we see on the radio. We actually geoplot them. So once we do that, we can actually find gaps in the coverage. We can find where the subscribers are actually having high density, and if that, and with the KPIs, you will be able to see that if the particular region is able to deliver all the network services which are being desired by those subscribers. So the whole pursuit of TrueCall is that, conventionally speaking, when the users or service providers were actually doing drive testing to ensure that that radio is able to perform to best of the capabilities that the customers or users are actually demanding. So with this approach where we get complete visibility, all the subscribers actually they don't need to install any application on their phones. For example, we listen to all the trace port or cell data feeds. From those measurement fields, we actually create this geolocated data. We plot it on the map, and the let's talk about TrueCall application, which is another application which is focusing on the RAN side. As I was talking about geo analytics, so what TrueCall really does is that it takes all the measurements from 5G RAN in this case and geoplots all these calls. And with this, when we do that, we are actually able to enable or give information about for example, coverage gaps or the worst performing cells or the best performing cells, and how is the density of various users in that particular or in a region. So what it really enables or triggers is that the pursuit is to reduce the drive testing. So when all the users are actually acting like drive testers for you, so you don't really need to go for drive testing. And also, um, this enables use cases like RAN service assurance, and all this data that we are monitoring is near real time. Also, this ingenious session analyzer application is actually focused on a very reactive use case in which if for example you are being told that a particular subscriber at a particular time is facing some issue, and as you know there are various hops and various nodes involved in delivering a particular service. So what an ingenious session analyzer actually does is that it does multi-protocol and multi-leg correlation for various technologies, including 5G and IoT, where we can actually we can create various hops of the call, and the users can actually look and see that the call failed for what reason and what was the leg. So these kind of use cases are enabled through Ingenious Session Analyzer. So again, in the summary, I would like to put an emphasis that even if it's a service provider or an enterprise, and even if it's a core or RAN, or the use cases are about troubleshooting or network automation or closed loop analytics, or where you need to really analyze or see the performance, how things are happening. NetScout provides complete visibility from a physical network to a hybrid network or even in a cloud infrastructure. So NetScout is there to give you the complete visibility and give you enable your use cases where you want to analyze data, how things are happening in a very workflow approach. And thank you very much. Um, And by the way, there is a quiz after the session, and just wait for that. And best of luck. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, Manuj.
Hi
I
Manuj,
wasn't.
I think
Hello.
we were just at 30, I think it was 35 minutes. But I think it's okay because I think Sabrina will edit out the pauses in
Sure.
between.
Sure.
And I know you didn't mention about the quiz, but I think that should be okay because, anyways, before you, there are multiple presenters who are, anyways, speaking about the quiz. So your quiz will, anyways, come next after
No,
this.
he did. He did mention the
I
quiz.
mentioned. I did mention.
Okay, sorry. I think I didn't get that. I was on another call. So okay, that's good then. If you've already mentioned that, perfect.
Okay, great stuff. Are we gonna do a 1 minute teaser, Hey Schnabel?
Yeah, let's do that. Manoj, we'll be basically taking a small video of you of under 20 seconds where you introduce yourself, you tell the audience what you're covering in your presentation, and to register for the Westcon Comstores 5G and IoT Summit. I will put that in the chat for you. Westcon Comstores 5G and IoT Summit. So you can just say, "Hi everyone, my name is Dash. I'm from NetScout. I'm the, you can say I'm the senior sales engineer at NetScout. Do you want to know more about Dash Dash Dash? If yes, join me for Westcon Comstores 5G and IoT Summit by registering today." That's it.
Yep.
All right.
Shall I
Okay.
go for it?
Yeah,
Um,
Sabrina will give you the countdown and take you in full screen.
awesome. I'm removing Schnabel and myself in 3, 2.
Hey guys, my name is Manuj Marwaha. I am from NetScout. I am senior sales engineer. Um, and if you want to know more about what's really going on with 5G and IoT monitoring, then just come to my session and we can have further discussion about it. And also welcome to the Westcon Comster 5G and IoT Summit. I hope I did say right.
I think if we do another take where you say, "Hi, my name is Manuj. I'm the senior sales engineer at NetScout. Do you want to learn more about NetScout solution in 5G and IoT? If yes, join me at the Westcon Comstores 5G and IoT Summit by registering today." That's it. Because I know you tried to fit in the Westcon Comstores 5G IoT Summit at the end by saying, welcome. That was the only small error I saw, but otherwise it was good. So maybe you can say, talk about what you will be covering in your session and then say, join me to hear more about NetScout's solutions in 5G and IoT. Join me at Westcon Comstores 5G and IoT Summit.
Okay. Removing Schnabel.
Yep.
Okay. Removing Schnabel and myself in 3, 2.
Hey guys, my name is Manuj Marwaha. I am a senior sales engineer from NetScout. And if you want to know and hear about what innovations NetScout is bringing on the table for 5G and IoT monitoring, then please come join my session at Westcon Comster 5G IoT Summit. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was perfect. It was spot on. Thank you, Manuj. I know you're on holiday in
No
India,
problem.
and your team has, requested you to record,